And before we get started with this podcast episode, I want to thank our sponsor, Jobber. Now, Jobber is the primary software we've been using in our detailing business for the last 4 years now. From when I was on my own to now that we have a small team, Jobber has helped us streamline our operations, from scheduling customers in our calendar for both mobile and shop jobs, to sending out quotes, to sending text and email confirmations about the customer's appointment, to keeping track of all the customer's information, like their address, their vehicles, the services we've done, or even keeping track of employee hours. We run everything through Jobber. If you want to get a free 14-day trial plus 20% off your first 6 months, you can click the link down below, or if you're listening to this, just check the show notes, and you can get a free 14-day trial plus 20% off your first 6 months. Thank you, Jobber, and now let's get started with this episode. And welcome back to another podcast episode. We have Mr. Lex Diaz here.
What's going on, guys?
On the podcast, where we're going to talk about how we book in customers, how Lex does it right now, what I used to do when I was on my own. But I would say right now, I actually don't feel that well. I feel very nauseous and dizzy and sick actually right now, but we're going to get this podcast in. So, Lex, we'll just jump right into the episode here of, generally speaking, Lex, when we get a phone, let me see if I move this. When we get a phone call and someone is asking for an interior cleaning process, right? That someone calls you and says, hey, I'd like my interior cleaned. What's the process that you go through? You pick up the call and you say, hey, this is Lex with yada, yada, yada. How can I help you? You say, hey, I'm looking to get my interior cleaned. Boom. What happens? Unfold the story for us.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I asked, what is the year, make, and model of your vehicle? You can't really give any information without that information. What's the year, make, and model of your vehicle? And then I confirmed that they only want the interior cleaned. Some people will call asking for an interior cleaning, but when asked the question and, so only the interior, some will say, yeah, just the interior, or some will say, well, actually, I would also like the exterior. So there I get more information on where to go from there. And then, depending on what they say after that, I give the general price range. For example, it's a 4-door sedan. I say, okay, for just the interior to clean, interior top to bottom, front to back, best condition possible, it'll be between $220 and $260. If the vehicle is heavily soiled or there's pet hair, the price may have to be adjusted, and you can always send me photos to this number or to our email. I give you a more accurate price. I make sure I say that. That way they know that the first price I gave them is just the range, but the final price could be a lot higher, or it could even be lower if the vehicle is not that bad. I don't ever set myself to a specific price, because then you can run into some trouble later on.
Yes, and that was more so specifically for interior cleaning. Because on a lot of other services, for instance, our premium wash, our wash and wax, our engine cleaning, and our headlight restoration, those are always fixed prices, right?
Yeah, for the most part, unless it's like a truck. If they say they have a F-150, I always ask, is it lifted? Do you take it off-roading? Have you been on a 10-hour road trip? Those would be some questions that are good to ask for exterior services, because, if you have a million bugs on the front end, that's going to take a while to remove.
Yeah.
If there's heavy mud, that's a lot of pressure washing. If the truck is lifted, that's going to take up a lot more energy and time for you to clean it. So for the most part, exterior price, it is fixed. But when you have those little tweaks, nuances on the vehicle, it's good to ask those questions as well.
Yeah, and that's true. So and that kind of goes with a lot of things that we do. Where like, there's the thing that we normally do, but if you kind of probe a little bit and they say something, it's like, oh wait, you said what? Okay, hold on. And then you kind of go into that.
Yeah.
You kind of ask a few more questions. So someone says like, yeah, let's say lift the truck, and it's like, yeah, or not even lift the truck. If they're like, yeah, I just got back from a road trip, it's like already like, okay, let me ask a few more questions, because you kind of know, okay, how far was this road trip? Like, in your head you might be like, okay, was this like from here to Katy or here to like Nebraska and back? Because that's a different story.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. So and we've both done that too. Of like for the most part, some services are fixed, but if they do say like, oh, like it actually does seem like a bit worse condition, we will give a price range. Like, so like if it's like a F-150, it's like, yeah, typically that'd be like $280, right? But if they're like, yeah, like it's lifted. I haven't washed it in a while. Just got back from a road trip. It's like, hey, it might be like 280 to 400 depending
Yeah.
on how much work it has to be.
Yeah.
So in some instances, we do give a price range on what would normally would be a fixed service, a fixed price on a service. But it really just depends on what kind of information to give you. And so like for me, when I was doing this on my own, like before everyone came on board, 4 people, before that happened, like my goal would always be to ask the fewest questions possible to get all the information that I need. That's always been my main goal because like again, like run your business the way you would want to interact with another business, right? So for me, the way I always looked at it is when I call someone, not that I don't want to give the information, I just want the person that I'm talking to be so accurate and effective and efficient and like professional to say, I've done this 100 times already. I see this type of customer every single day, so I already know the right question to ask. So when I would talk to customers, it's like I don't want to be on the phone more than like 5 minutes if I don't have to.
Yeah,
because it doesn't have to go over 5 minutes. So I remember if I asked you like, do you know how long the average for not a correction and coding, how long does like the average call, like to talk to them and book them in the schedule? That's not a correction and coding or like a heavy service like smoke odor removal. How long does a call usually take?
It will take about like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, like
it's sometimes even less.
It's a very straightforward call. Now, you might be shocked by hearing that, but again, like we've been doing this for a long time. We have like a lot of other things set in place as far as like our marketing and all that that helps with that process of it being very, very, very short in terms of like why it's a very short phone call. But at this point, like we've had so many customers, like we already know the question to ask to get a pretty good enough accurate look of like, or not look, but to get a better idea of what we need to charge for that service.
Yeah, and another question you can ask to cut any conversation short is how soon are you looking to get this done? Because if you're booked out for 1, 2, 3 weeks, but the customer is strictly calling to get a same day appointment, you could off the bat already say, we're sorry, we're booked out today, we can't get you in, and you will avoid a 5-10 minute conversation just to get to the end to tell them that you can't get to them.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah, because a lot of times, you want to get all the information, you talk. Maybe they have a lot of questions because they themselves, it's their first time spinning, whatever the case may be. But then, I thought I could get it done today. It's like, it's Saturday at 2 p.m. Like
now it's a whole 10-minute conversation that led to
just
nothing.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's another big thing. Yeah. So let's say and for the most part, whether it's interior, wash and wax, premium wash, engine, it all goes about that same manner, right? It's a short phone call. You ask a few questions. Now, when it's something like a correction and coding, which just as a whole, it usually takes longer to explain. The conversation is a bit longer. The sales cycle, as far as like when they call to when they book, is a little longer just because the process is a little more. Like on interior cleaning, they call, we get a bit of information, we get the information, we book them in, done. But with a correction and coding or a smoke odor removal, it's like get information. We'd like for them to come in for in-person inspection. A TSA is what we call it, a test spot assessment. We talk over the options, we get a deposit, we book them in, and then we service them. So there's a bit of a difference just because it's a more intensive service, it's a higher price. So the sales cycle is going to take a little longer. But kind of break down that. What
a lot more money.
And yeah, exactly. So it's a higher ticket item. So what's kind of the process when someone says, hey, like I want to get how did the numbers say? I want to get my car buffed.
Yeah, that's typically
how much does that cost?
Yeah, I always try to get them to come to the shop for us to take a look at it. I always say we have a few different options depending on the budget that you have and the type of results that you're wanting. Over the phone, I can give you a starting price, but for an accurate or final price, I do have to see the vehicle in person, look at the condition, and I could even do a few test files to show you what results we can get. Could you stop sometime this week at our shop?
Yeah, so and that's a big difference that we've developed too. Like we really learned that process because obviously beforehand we were always mobile, so we never had the ability for a customer to come to us to do like an in-person inspection. But now that's unless they're just like ready to just rock and roll and like they pay the deposit over the phone, most of them actually come into the shop. And it makes sense because like, we might be like, hey, starting price is like, whatever, like $800. So with that one, like they're more than willing to come in because it's a higher price. They know it's going to take time. We're going to have their car for like 1 or 2 days. So they're very willing to come in for an in-person inspection for the vehicle.
Yeah, most of the time they say that's fine. They'll bring the vehicle in. because they want that final price.
Yeah, and that and they want and it's good for them to see it too. Like,
Yeah.
not that we don't book correction codes without seeing the vehicle, but like to level up, to make sure the expectations are set properly. For them to come in, they see, hey, here's a 2-step, here's a 1-step, here's a difference between them, here's a price difference. Like, it kind of segments, like, hey, like, here's what you expect. Like, the 2-step gets around like 90% of the swirls out. The 2-step gets around 90% of the swirls. The 1-step gets around 70. So this is a more affordable option. It's still gonna look amazing, but you're still gonna be able to see more swirls in there. And setting that expectation is very, very important. That way, it's all like, hey, we went through this. We gave you the options. We gave you the price difference. There is no.
You saw the results.
Yeah, there is no confusion of what you're gonna get at the end of the detail. Now, like before we were mobile, and when I would do it, I would always like when I was mobile, and we did this too for a while. If someone wanted us to inspect their paint for paint correction and coating, we would charge to go out to them, and we would charge $100. If they booked with us, that $100 would be used to their final price. So if it's like, let's say $1,000 for the correction and coating, that $1,000 would go to their overall ticket, to the overall ticket of the service. If they didn't book with us, that was just for us to go out there. Yeah.
Time is money.
Yeah. And on that one, just because, like if we're driving, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, like that's a far drive to go just to be like, oh no, it's like that, that's hard to fit it in an active schedule when you're already having multiple cars in there. Like there has to be some form of compensation. But now, of course, like that's because we were mobile. Now again, we don't charge anything for TSA. Like you just come in for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, get that done, and then they leave. So,
and the TSA is really short too. It is not another 10-minute conversation. It's give me your vehicle for 5 minutes, and then you speak with them for another minute or two, and that's it. So that's also short, fast. Then I just sit here.
It's not like it's a 30-minute thing. No, like we're gonna have the polish ready, the towels ready to get there. Like, hey, what's up? We're gonna do a waterless wash, clay it, do some spots, talk to them, and then they're on their way.
And then also we take paint measurements. So not a lot of customers know that you can measure paint. That's like a key thing to do, because when you show them that you're taking the time to see how much paint it's have on there, you build a lot of trust with the customer.
Yeah. Right.
Like, oh man, this guy's actually trying to take care of me, not just trying to sell me the highest package available.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of other.
That's true, because they don't even know that's the thing. Like, oh, there's like there's an actual numerical thing to this paint that I have.
I thought we could just polish forever all the time. Sometimes it's a little too thin to do anything, and it's good to let them know.
Yeah, and that's another thing though, that when it comes to the like when they're there and they're like, hey, what do you recommend? Like when I did the TSAs, and the customer would, or the person would be like, so which one do you think is better? And the one thing, like what helps build that trust and rapport with the person is like, hey, like, I'm here to just give you the best information, and you got to choose which one the best one is, right? The best was like I remember talking to the specific customer, and he was saying which one's the best one. I was like, well, the best one's going to be the 2-step, because we're going to remove our swirls. But you have a white colored vehicle. You're going to daily this thing, so like the 2-step would of course look better. But honestly, like if I'm you, I would choose the 1-step polish, just because it's still going to remove a lot of swirls. It's still going to look great, and you're not going to see the difference between the 2-step and 1-step on this white colored vehicle.
Yeah, I typically say, like, if it's a daily driver, you're going to drive it every day, it's going to get dirty. If you're going to hand wash it yourself, or take it somewhere, or even take it to the automatic car wash, then I would always say, the 2-step is just not the right fit for you, or even the 1-step. But if they say that this car is garage kept, you only drive it on the weekends. If it's a show car, or they take it, to special events, then I would lean more towards the 2-step. And also the budget as well. So the budget plays a big factor,
for sure.
And that's another thing you could ask too. What is your budget, and what do you use this vehicle for? And that'll help you recommend them the right package.
And a lot of this is after, like, this is just because like you just start talking to a lot of people, right? Like you're not gonna know the exact things, and it's really dependent on the customers that you bring in, because like for us, we know the customers that we have and what we're offering and the price point that we can play within. But like obviously, like in the earlier years when I was getting customers, like I didn't know exactly what to say or how to say or what to ask or why to ask it or what the constraints were. Like this is something that you'll start to learn over time as you get more customers, as you're able to have these more experiences and basically use them as data points to say, okay, well, is this a price range? This is the price range. Like, and you just get a better understanding of like what your actual price point is based on your area, based on your skills, based on your experience, based on your marketing. And it's like over time you develop the proper pricing. And like even with us, our pricing is always changing, not like on a month to month kind of thing, but like, remember when we first started and we had that one vehicle where we're like at it was those two vehicles. It was a Mercedes and it was in that small driveway where the street was very small.
Okay.
Do you remember? And it was still called the basic wash and the basic interior cleaning. And then after that service, we were like, bro, this ain't a basic car wash and basic interior cleaning.
Oh yeah.
And then from there, we were like, we're gonna switch this around because we're doing way more than what a basic car wash is. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the time, it was a basic car. I think it was like $30 for the basic car wash, and then like 30. I don't know, something like 30.
And that happened a lot.
Yeah.
For different services too. We were always like,
yeah.
You know what?
So it was so like that one is 30 for basic car wash and 30 for a basic interior. But the thing is, like, as we were working, we're actually doing quite a bit for just a basic thing. So that's why we changed the name from basic to a premium wash, and we went from $30 for $50 for just like a sedan. Because one, we didn't really want that many services of what it's called now, a premium wash. It's not like we were like, oh man, we got to get more of these premium washes. So one, if we're gonna do it, it has to be worth it.
Worth the time.
And then two, because like the things that we were doing within the service, it's like, dude, this is actually pretty good because not that it's like something crazy, but relative to like literally every other car wash out there, it was more.
Yeah, compare a hand wash, our hand wash to a another hand wash. Ours is a pretty good hand wash.
Yeah, like and again, like to most eaters that listen to this, like it's you probably do this too, and most likely you should raise your prices because like we're cleaning the inner barrels, the tires, the fenders. We're gonna like if there are some like bugs or some road tar, we're gonna remove that, clean the glass, wipe down the door jams, wash it, like blow it out, like all the emblems and such. So like
if there's like a little bit of tar here,
so yeah, as we were doing, they were like, bro, this is a good service for like not that much money. So we were like, dude, let's one, we don't want just these services, but two, like if we are, at least let's charge a little more. So like it's
dress
not
the wheel wells. Not many people do that.
Yeah, so it's not. It's like for a truck, we charge like 80, 90, $100 depending on the just for a premium wash because again, like it relative to so many other detailers out there or car wash lots, like it's a lot more than that. So and a lot of people freak out when we say those pricings, but it's like, dude, that's just we know, we just kind of know what we're doing.
We're also not trying to get that many of those.
Exactly. And probably more so of anything, though, is like we're not trying to book out our schedule with a ton of just washes. Yeah. So, okay. So you, and let's talk about the emails a little bit actually. Mm-hmm. So on the emails, what do you do with the email? So someone, so how the emails work is whether it's through SEO, search engine optimization, whether it's through Google Ads, which we do, whether someone just like refers someone, they go straight to our website. We have a form on our website. They fill that out. They can select what services they want. They can select if they want mobile or shop, and they can select. That's about it. So someone goes on the website and they say, I want an interior cleaning and I want it mobile, and then they submit it. What do you do? And then you come into the office at 6 a.m., you're sipping your pre, and you see the email. What do you do?
So we do have templates. So templates are really, really useful to use because, you're going to use that same template to write emails all the time. So they're asking for interior cleaning. We have a set template for that goes over, what the full interior cleaning includes and the price range. And again, it also says if the vehicle is heavily soiled, spec hair, then there'll be more. And there's always a sentence that says you can send a few photos and I get you more accurate quote. So over the phone or email, I'm always asking for photos. And most of the time, customers do send that.
Yeah.
So ask that. Also, we pay attention to the notes. So they're able to write like special notes when they inquire. If the notes say there is mold here, if the notes say I have 5 kids, we went on a road trip, then I don't give a price range. I just go straight to, can you send me a few photos? I avoid the price range because in my head, I'm like, okay, this vehicle might be I already know it's going to be a little bit more dirtier. So I'm going to ask for photos, skip the price range. When I get those photos, I'll just give an accurate price.
And again, this solely comes with like experience, with those data points of seeing multiple vehicles. Like again, like if someone selects an email, if they say like, I want interior cleaning or smoke odor removal, and they put in the notes like, hey, it got smoked out, can you please remove the smell? before I go into like the whole like explain the product, send me photos of the interior. I have to see how bad this is because that will dictate. Not it won't dictate everything. I need to know how bad that condition is before anything else. And that goes for anything. Like if they say like, hey, the engine hasn't been cleaned in 10 years. It's really bad. Can you clean it? Just send me a photo. It might not be, just send me photos. Like, hey, thank you for reaching out. Do you have any photos you can send me so I can see the condition so I give you a more accurate price point? Like that's immediately what I go to because I don't want to assume if the customer says to any degree that it's dirtier than what we typically see, that's sort of like, okay, just send me photos. Just send me photos.
The reverse to that is whenever in the notes they say, the vehicle is actually not that bad, but I just haven't cleaned it in a while. Just off of that sentence of it's not that bad, I'm going to assume it's bad, and I'm going to ask for photos again. So I'm never going to assume it's in good condition.
And then it's also the same way of like the Spark that we did, the bad interior, where the customer specifically said it's really bad.
Oh, yeah.
I need you to save it. Can you please help me? With that one, we already know we're gonna price high, which helps, but then also we're still gonna ask for photos, right? Like, because that one was $800 and
I remember
that one's $850. But it's like the guy was like it's bad, like it's a bad interior. So with that one in our head, all right, it's bad, like we're gonna charge high, but we still need the photos to confirm. So yeah, and it goes both ways, like you said, like if it's like if we get photos and it's worse, it's gonna the price is gonna be higher. But it legitimately, if it's not that bad, and the photos actually mean it's not that bad, we won't charge as much either.
Sometimes they want a full interior cleaning, and they send me photos, and I see the photos, and it's like a brand new car, and I'm able to say, you know what, I think our mini interior detail will probably be a better fit for you. The vehicle doesn't need a full interior cleaning, so the price can go up or down.
Yeah, and that one typically doesn't happen because sometimes like, for instance, like. They might bring the vehicle to us. Like, let's say it's a new to them vehicle, maybe, or something like that. And like, I just want to like get all the nastiness from the previous owner, right? And like we get it. It's like, okay, like there's a few stains here and there, but like no one sat in the rear seats. Like no, like maybe one person sat at one time the passenger. So it's like we might charge, like we might quote like whatever $240, and then we do the work. And it's like we wiped down the back, like the rear seats had nothing, like. It'll be $200, just because like fair is fair as far as pricing goes. Like when the condition is worse or like it's in bad condition, we're gonna charge appropriately. And then same thing if it's truly not that bad and the service was here but the condition is here and like we did this little work, it's like okay, that's also fair and we're gonna charge accordingly because we didn't take that long or whatever. We'll also charge low. At least to me, like I see it as fair is fair, right? If we have to charge high, we'll charge higher. But on the same note, if we can charge lower because it just wasn't that bad, we're going to charge lower. Fair is fair.
That goes back to building trust, which I've had to happen before where, repeat client selects a full interior cleaning again. Instead of us taking 2 to 3 hours, we took like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I lowered the price. They were very grateful. And they continue to book with me because they know I'm not, stealing them.
Yeah. Now, another thing on those email templates is we have an email. Okay, so like going back to the phone call of like when I talk to someone over the phone, like, and I'm calling a business, like I want them to know everything that they need to know I want them to know everything they need to know from me, right? So like I shouldn't try to book with them or like buy something from them and they're like, oh, by the way, hey, I forgot to ask you. It's like, how'd you forget anything? Like I'm sure you had this conversation about 50,000 times a month. Like, how do you forget to ask a specific question? So with the templates, it covers the exact same things that we do over the phone, right? Of when like the email, like, so if someone says on the form, I want interior cleaning and wash and wax. On the email templates, we have a full interior cleaning and a wash and wax template. And in that template, it says, it recaps the service, it recaps what they get, it recaps the price, it recaps how long it's going to take. And we might have to do like a few micro adjustments in an email, just to make sure it fits to what exactly they asked for. And like within 10 seconds, we reply with the email because like, if you do like with communications, with communications in your business, if you do it more than once, you should probably have a template or a format for that, right? So if you're gonna, and not that like Lex follows or we follow like a template over the phone, just because at this point like it's the same thing over and over. But especially like for emails or text messages, like you should basically have like pre-written templates or saved templates in your phone or email, so you can just like quickly copy and paste and send them off. Because
we have that for the phone too, text messages.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing where I definitely use a lot more templates on my phone back then, and not to plug a job or anything, but like once we got on Jobber and we started using the automated text and email things, like we started not, we kind of got rid of the templates just because when we leave from the job site, when we leave the shop to go mobile, or if the customer, if we leave to the job site from the shop, we just click in Jobber 20 minutes out and then it sends them a text message. Or the email reminder, instead of us emailing, Jobber just automatically sends an email. And that got rid of all our like templates that we have to send out manually.
Confirmations as well.
So all that gets sent out through Jobber, which makes life a lot easier. If you want to get a free 14-day trial plus 20% off your first 6 months, click the link down below and you can try it out. But we've been using that in our business, and that really got rid of like us manually doing the texting and stuff on our phone, because we use the app on our phone, and then from there it just sends it off. So instead of us sending it, we just press a button and it sends off. Okay, so now you spoke to them over the phone, email, you got the information, and okay, so through email, how many back and forth does it go through until you book them in, excluding correction and codings?
Excluding correction codings.
Yeah, so like if they want to interior wash and wax, like how many emails go back and forth until they're booked into the schedule?
About 4 to 5 emails, depending on how much info I need from them and how much info they want from me.
But even with that, and so one, like a big thing
that's counting the email that they sent out to inquire, the email that I sent with the quotes, the email that they might send me photos or just want to book, and then this is all I need from you now, and then that information. So yeah, 4 to 5.
Yeah, again, like a big thing like I'd like to stress is like we don't need to have this super long-winded conversation with the customer. Not because we're like, oh, we want to get them off as quickly as we can. It's like, no, it's like we already know the information that we need. We've done this 100 times or 1,000 times already. So it's like we need to be the professional and say, hey, here's exactly what we need from them. Assuming it's not like hey, just went on a really like for most customers, it's like we don't need to have this super long-winded conversation and like trying to find out your life thing. Like it's very straightforward. Which again, like it's that adds to the customer experience of like, oh, that was quick. Like
that hassle-free.
Yeah, it has a hassle-free experience where like I submitted a form, they replied an hour later. It took 10 minutes to book them in, and now I'm scheduled for next week at 9 a.m. and they're gonna come to me. Like it's
very informative. They're not lost in anywhere in the process. They know when the reminders are gonna get there. They know the price. They know the location.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that,
very informative, short. Just like on the phone, very very brief conversations. It's the same thing through emails.
Yeah, and that's what I mean of like customer experience. Like how does the entire process flow from when they first call you to when they book them in? So like even again, shameless plug the Jobber, but like even on there when it sends the confirmation link, it shows on the page who's gonna go out to that mobile team. That way they know, like, not only they're getting the confirmation details of when that date is, where it's at, their home location, or wherever that is, but then it also says, here are the team members that are going that day. And it's like, they're, again, like I said, they're never lost in the process. They're never wondering, well, so what's the next step? Like, they should always know what's the next step. They should always know what's going to happen next. They should always know. There should never be a time in the process where they're like, what? That should never happen.
Yeah, they should never call you like, where are you at? Or how do I pay? Or is there anything you need from me? Should not get that call.
So like the thing I like to think about is like, of all the things the customer has going on in their day, we should be the easiest to do task to check off. Like of all the things that they do, going to the dentist, picking up their kids, going groceries, cooking food, going to the doctor, just walking their dog, getting the car cleaned for that day should be the easiest thing they do. Right? They should know exactly what time we're gonna get there. They should know how long roughly we're gonna take. They're gonna know how much it's gonna be. They know exactly what they're gonna get from the service. They should know when they're gonna pay. They should need to know how they're gonna pay.
How long it's gonna take.
Like they should know all those details. And if any of those times something is missing, then you need to fix. Like you need to clear up your communications.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting there, like if you finish the service and they don't know what they're paying, that is 100% on you, at fault.
That's a bad one.
That should never happen. That they don't know the price after you've already finished the vehicle. They should know exactly what they're gonna pay. And if something goes wrong, where they don't want to pay you, they don't want to pay that much, that is 100% on you for waiting till the end to let them know the final price. That should not happen.
Before buying it. Yeah.
That should not happen. Now that means, yeah, like that's knowing the price. So like for us, we always get paid at the end of the service. Now this could be, you could do it whatever way for however you want to do in your business, whether it's before, deposit, whatever the case may be. The reason why we do it at the end of the service is just in case anything happens before we're actually able to render the services. We're not like responsible for the money, right? So like if the weather goes bad, if they have to cancel or reschedule for any last minute thing, like because we get paid once they're satisfied at the end, it's like, okay, like we're done with the service, we're good, like now pay us. Versus if we collect the money up front, it's like if they got to reschedule, if we reschedule, like scheduling conflicts, the weather, it's like, now we have their money. Now we have to make sure like at the soonest availability we get them in. But if we're already booked out, then kind of add some like, so that's why we always get paid.
The hassle.
We always get paid at the end. And also as well though is the satisfaction part.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that, hey, like you're, again, going back to the customer experience part is like, are you absolutely satisfied and happy with the results? Is everything good to go? Yes. Okay. Pay now. Versus if you get paid for, if you get paid first and you know you're showing, or that's didn't mean too specific.
Because what if the customer's not satisfied with the detail, but you already took payment? So what do you do now?
Yeah, they might be like, hey, what, you know, like it just, so we always
and that's on the type of customer. There's some customers
exactly
out there
that's
who,
what I'm saying. Yeah,
you know,
like
no matter how good of a job you do, they might, you know, they got something going on. It might just, you know, bug you. And if you already took payment, it's like, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Or if you didn't take payment, you could at least take a few dollars off, make it a little better, and then leave.
Yeah, depending on the situation, but that's why we always get paid at the end. It's just like hey, you're happy, you're satisfied, everything's good, checked off. Okay, we touched any spot. Okay, pay now. You know, that's just the way we look at it. Okay, so you get the information, whatever, you know, you talk to them. What specific information do you need to book them in the calendar?
Yeah.
Like
So,
they say, yes, I want to book. Okay, what information do you get now?
So if it's a mobile job, I tell them all I need is I already have their email, so I got the email.
If it's through
emails, I already got the email.
If it's through email, you have their email, first name, last name, vehicle information.
So it got 4 things.
It is always like we prefer email far more than a phone because email, it is, you can have like 5 conversations going on at once, each one giving you all the information that you need. But on a phone call, it's like, okay, let me talk to one person right now. Let me make sure I'm listening because this is, you know, it's like one. Anyways, go on.
Yeah. So through emails, I already got, like you said, first name, last name, the email, the year, make, and model of the vehicle, and the services. If it's mobile, I ask for their address with any special instructions, meaning if it's an apartment, the gate code.
Right.
Sometimes there's gated communities where you have to either dial a number in or you have to get checked by security guard. So any special instructions would be that. What did I just say?
Honestly,
phone
I was
number?
thinking about the next question already. Okay,
Phone number, and address if it's mobile. If it's shop, then I don't need the address. I give them the address, and I tell them all I need now is your phone number.
You have their phone number.
If it's through email.
Oh, through email. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm saying if it was a shop service, then all I would ask would be their phone number.
Oh, right.
If it's mobile, I would ask for the phone number and address. Yeah, and through the phone, it's the same thing, but you just gotta ask for all that on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Let me get your first name, last name. Let me get your email.
Yeah.
You already have the number, but sometimes you could ask, is this a good phone number?
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to ask,
because they could be calling off of somebody else's phone or their business phone or a landline, and they might have a different number they want you to contact. So is this a good number to reach you at? Yes, boom. No, may I have a good number? Mobile, address, again. Shop, I give them the address.
Yeah, and it just goes back to, again, to like, you'll understand what information you need specifically. Again, like, over time, like you just get better at understanding like what information that you do need. But for sure, like email versus phone call, we'd always prefer someone to email. Like it's so much easier to get all the information, to be able to talk, to communicate, to give pricing if it's over email or text versus phone. Now, do you still text a lot with customers, like giving them quotes and such?
Not as often, but we do get some text messages, especially when I can't pick up the phone because I'm busy. They will text, and I'll just ask for all the info through text. And then once I'm able to give them a call back, I'll look through the text first, make sure I have all the info. That way, I already know what I'm calling for, what they want, and then I give them a call. So yeah, we do text. Yeah.
And another thing to point out is that like with the web form, we with the web form, like a lot of people like to think, okay, let me get all the information on the form, right? So they'll say, hey, okay, let me have a form of first name, last name, phone number, email, address, services. When do you want it? And up front, it makes sense because you want to get all the information. But when you're filling out a form, you want the least amount of fields for them to fill out. Reason being is because the more fields you add, the more friction you create. So if you want to get more email submission, some form submissions in, make it frictionless. Meaning, don't like if I'm filling out a form for another website, right? For I don't know, a haircut or something, or I don't know, a quote for something, and they're like, okay, what is your home address? It's like, bruh, I don't need to give you my home address right now. Like, let me get some information from you first. Like, I don't need to give you my home address. Or if someone would ask you like, what's your VIN number? It's like, bruh, let me like, can you like, I don't need to
Let me get the price first.
Yeah, I don't need to go this deep into the process yet, you know? So don't ask for like these heavy things of like, we don't ask for a phone number on the form, right? Like if we get into the conversation and they're interested, okay, we'll get their phone number. But we specifically don't ask for phone number or home address or work or whatever, just because we want to make sure that they reach out to us, we get the conversation going. And yes, we can ask for the number later, but that's why we don't like have a ton of fields on our form, just because we want to make it frictionless for them to fill out. Now it would help, like it would help to have phone number. It would help to say like how soon do you want it. It would help to have is the interior leather. Like it would help to have all these other little small things on the field. But just because we want to keep it very frictionless and as easy as possible for them to fill out, we don't put all these fields into the form. Okay, so that's that. Now, what if, all right, now that we have a shop, here's how things change, is that now a customer can come in person and just walk in, pull up on us like that.
Show up.
Just pull up on us like that. So what do you do when someone says, hey, I'm looking for a quote? What happens? And this is in person at the shop.
Yeah.
What do you do? It's called the walk-in. So what do you do when a walk-in
So you know
comes in?
nothing when you get a walk-in. You know absolutely nothing. Not their name, nothing. They just show up. They come in. I want detail. You greet them first. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Lex. What type of detailing service are you interested in? Full interior cleaning. Okay. Is this for this vehicle, the one they brought? Yes. No. Might be another vehicle. Yeah. Typically, it's yes.
I know it sounds funny, but it's like we've actually had people that like, well, no, I have my project car at home whatever. So it actually, you would think it's a car that came in, but sometimes it's actually
sometimes
not.
They have a car in the garage that they cannot start, but they want a quote.
They're
just around the area. They'll just stop by and get a quote. That's that question. Let's say full interior clean. Okay. Do you mind if we go take a look at it, or if I go take a look at it? Yeah, sure thing. Go look at it. Boom, off right there, you can already see the condition and you're able to give a price. So that's good. You see the condition, you give them a price. If they don't want to book, okay, thank you for your time. Okay, bye. If they want to book, then we have a form. I skip through all the questions that I need to ask, and I just hand them a form that they can quickly fill out. I get all the information I need. And they know that I have all their information, so they fill out the form. I go to my office. I give them our next availability that works for them, and boom, that's it. It's booked in.
Yeah.
They leave. I sit there for 5 minutes, book it in. They get that text confirmation, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we also developed over time because when we moved into the shop and we started getting walk-ins, we were like, what the heck? How do we handle this? So at first, I think we did is. What's the first thing that we did? I know we
didn't have the forms.
No. It was three things that we went through. Like the first thing that we went through was like we righted I forgot, because I know the second thing was like, oh, let's. Oh no. Yeah, it was the first thing was like you give like we have a jobber out and we try to make the appointment. And we're like,
we would just make it on the spot. Yeah, but they're talking to us.
We would be like, what's your name? Well, first name, last name, email, phone number, address, right, or whatever we needed.
Yeah.
The problem with that, though, sometimes was the communication between two. Where like, it's Roger, and then it'd be like Roger, and they'd be like, no, it's weird, it's Roygi, and then like, so and that was just a weird example, but sometimes the communication would be lost, or like you couldn't really understand them. So it's like, oh, what was it? What? Yeah.
Which is still normal. But a form is a lot more smoother.
Yeah. So like we would talk to them, and they would be like, and we couldn't like understand every single word, or like they give us a number and we'd repeat like, no, the last four are 6147 or like 6147. Yeah. And so like communication would be weird. So then we would give them the phone for a little bit and like, here, just fill it out. And then even that was like, because it was our business phone, or like if it was me and like it was on the spot, it'd be my personal phone. And like maybe a phone call would come in, like messages would come in, and like it would get in their way of them filling it out, and then that would be kind of weird. Or like Lex is checking someone out, and then like we don't have a phone available, so it's like then we're scrambling trying to like get to the laptop in the office or get another phone. So then we come to the form now, what Lex is referring to, and that's when we basically like instead of us like, hey, what's your first name, last name, what's your email address, phone number, what's the address if we're mobile and we need to go to them. Instead of that, we just give them this piece of paper, and they just write down their just the field that we just said. Yeah, and that is by far like the easiest thing that we do. The
only downside to the form is whenever they have bad handwriting.
Yeah,
and you can't read it right. So if there's any tip I could give you would be to read the form before letting the customer go. That way, if there's any grammar, you that's not you can't read right, you can ask them.
Ask
like,
them right
like
there.
a number, is this a 1 or a 7? Is this a P or a B or a D?
Yeah.
Is the address, you get the point.
Yeah. And again, like these things you'll develop over time, like the same way we did about the phone calls, the emails, the way like doing this with the form, like these are things that like after you get more data points, you're like, man, this isn't really working out. Let's try something else. And for now, the form has been tried and true, pen and paper, like sign it in. Now, move on to the next step here, is that once you
make sure you have the forms printed out too. You
know, that's another one. We're like, we got no forms. Okay, let me go print it out. So we usually print them out like 10 at a time, and they just stay there. And then over time, we'll make sure they're replenished. Okay, so let's on the form part. Okay, they wrote down on their information. So what do you do next with that paper?
With that paper, then I take it to my desk, and I input all their info in on Jobber. And then they get the text confirmation. So it was that simple.
Yeah. So and now it's pretty simple.
Keep the paper.
You keep the paper.
Keep the paper because right there I write down the price, the services. If there's ever a time where the customer says, "Oh, I thought it was this price," or anything, you have that print of the day that they came in. They give them the price,
and they signed it too, right?
No? They don't sign. They don't.
We don't have a
form.
signature on that.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Right idea.
Because I know it has a date and everything.
And everything. But yeah, it's good to have the paper just in case.
Yeah, and we have some customers like that too, where they're like they want like a formal quote. That way we can't like change the pricing. Not like being mean to us or anything, but like they just want to make sure they have it in writing, which is fair. So with that one, when they ask when they want like a quote sent to their email, we use Jobber for that as well, and we just create we still need the information. Well, at minimum, we need the first name, last name, and email address, and then we send the quote out through Jobber, so they can have something in writing.
Yeah. Now for the quote, we don't have a printed form or anything because that just takes more time. Imagine just sitting there writing the quote. To print. A lot easier through email.
Yeah. So
I'll
that
I'll send over the quote to user through email. And then 5 minutes, send it.
So so again, like as you can see, like there's multiple ways that you have to kind of handle the situation based on what the customer wants or what they need. Like like is there for that one client that we had that sends us all their smoke order work, is there anything in particular that you have to do with them?
No, they just email me the
formal
year,
quotes.
make, and model. Let me get a quote. I already have other info. I just write the quote and I send it through email, and then it just gets approved.
See, like in this specific situation with that one, like because he's a insurance agent, adjuster or something.
Progressive.
Yeah. So with him, like he sent us. Actually, now we gotta give him a little gift or something. I think he sent over like at least like $5,000 worth of work through insurance claims. Never cares about the price because insurance is paying out. Not that we like overcharge or anything, but that's anytime you have insurance, that's always what happens. Anyways. So with that one, like we have the customer's information on file. So anytime he has a vehicle for us, he just sends us an email. We get the information. We send a quote through Jobber to him. He approves it right there, and then we schedule the job.
It's just like 3 emails.
Yeah, like it's super straightforward and simple to use. And again, this is not just to like just talk about Jobber, but like this is the instance of like this is why we have software in our business specifically, just because like not because there's a lot of activity going on, quotes as you can see, there's a lot of things going on because, it might be 10, 12 calls in one day. It might be
or more.
3, 5, 7 emails in one day. It might
more.
be 1, 2, 3 walk-ins a day. So so when all that's happening, it's like you need a much more better system to like handle all that. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't happen every day, like where we have, but there have been times, like especially like in the good weather, like summertime, where it's like there's just like an influx of everything, and there's just a lot of communication and things going around. That we like if we use like Google Calendar, or like you just need something way better and robust to handle all the activity.
Faster. Yeah.
So we
Because those are potential jobs. You can
yeah,
lose.
and it's like it's
You're gonna get
literally
to 'em quick.
it's literally just like money sitting there if you don't respond to it. So we talked about phone, email, in person. When it comes to repeat customers, as far as for any service, whatever, like, is there anything in particular that you do with repeat customers? Like, they already know us, they've already booked with us. Whether it's like whether they're coming back for another full interior cleaning on their other vehicle, whether it's someone that's like kind of on like not so much like on maintenance, but like every month they're like, hey, do you got a spot open for me? Is there anything different that happens there?
Those are pretty easy because they pretty much know the routine now. They know they're gonna get the text confirmation. They know they're gonna get the reminders. Typically they know the price, but although you still wanna confirm the price on the service and everything. So no, those are pretty easy. There's really nothing special about those. And you have all their info. So as soon as they call, they're like, hey, let me get my interior cleaned again. You don't have to ask for their address. You don't have to ask for the year, make, and model.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, I'll go ahead and book this then.
Yeah. The only thing you
Thanks.
might ask is same address. Like,
Yeah,
the same,
that's a good one actually. Yeah,
it's just
the
same
address,
location?
Just confirm.
Yeah.
Or some customers might have 2 addresses, a
Yeah.
work and a home. It's like, yeah, sure thing. Which address will
Yeah,
we be going
yeah.
to?
And
We
again,
don't
this
feel like
this
that.
goes back to
Yeah.
like having a robust system, because like if that happens, or like for us, it's not crazy for them to have 3 locations sometimes, right? So it's like, hey, which address is going to be at? Oh, can you go to the work one? Okay, we have the work one on file.
Yeah.
Put that one. Make sure you put that one in Jobber, and then we go to that one. So
You don't have to ask for it again.
yeah,
It's
and
all
again,
there.
that goes back to the customer experience. So like, hey, we got your
Hassle-free.
information. Like, it's there. You let us know where we're gonna go. There, plain Jane information. We keep things efficient. We keep things simple, because that's like we're here.
They know what's going on.
They
They
take
know
care of
when
you.
they're gonna pay.
Again,
They know
yeah.
the price,
Again,
everything.
it's like you should be the easiest thing that they do for that day. Like, if they reach out to you, of all the things, of every provider they got to talk to, their internet, their phone, their lawn guy, the dentist, the plumber, you should be like the easiest, most enjoyable one of all of them. That should be the goal.
Yeah.
That should be the goal.
Just clean the car.
Yeah, hey, we're cleaning a car.
Clean the car.
Don't make it any more stressful than it
now.
has to be. You know what I'm saying? We're just cleaning the car. Okay. We'll go ahead and wrap it up right here. Lex, thank you for coming by. This is a pretty good
Thank you guys
conversation.
for having me.
If you want to give Jobber a try, since we've been talking about it again, like I've been using Jobber in our business for the last 4 years, far before they became a sponsor, like far before. So we genuinely do every day. For the last 4 years, been using Jobber in our business. If you want to get a free 14-day trial plus 20% off your first 6 months, you can click the link in the description box down below, or on the audio, just check the show notes and you can get you can check it out there. Lex, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys on the next one.